Evolve or die. There was a young man who wanted to change the world. He was too idealistic that he realized it was difficult, so he opted to change the nation. He found it very challenging too, so he tried to focus on his own town. He couldn't change the town either, so he tried to change his family. When he got a bit older and wiser in years, he realized that the only thing he can have the power to definitely change is himself. If only he had thought of this long ago, he would have made a difference on his family. The family could have created an influence on the town. The town could have sparked something for the nation. Perhaps the nation could have changed the world. But nothing happened with the old man's dream for change. It simply died down along with the ebbing of the tide. All throughout the course of history, people have always looked for change. Wars have been waged and lives have been lost in a flick of an instant. Cities have been rampaged and principles were compromised, all for the great expectation to achieve the change. And yet, nothing constant about the change ever lasts. The change that man experiences becomes another cause for another change. The cycle goes on, and man will keep searching again to the greatest ends of the earth, only to find change. But he realizes that he loses only himself. We say that the hope of the next generation is we, the youth. But come to think of it, in this age of materialism, characterized by personal acquisition and achievements, is our generation even prepared to lose everything for some infinitesimal thought of change? By golly, we can't even afford to lose our cell phones and iPods. How much more entertain the thought of losing something of us, all for the glory of some abstract change. How martyr-like for our generation to even act with chivalry, when boy-girl relationships in our generation are gained as quickly as they are lost. This is the kind of society we have opened our eyes with. It is filled with different forms of chaos, and we keep fighting without knowing our battles. Yes, there is a constant battle going on. But the battle is not about flesh and blood. It is a battle of self-worth that is disguised in power, fame, and authority. It is the overwhelming sense of the self that the human race was willing to embarrass itself by waging the bloodiest of wars and inventing biochemical weapons to wage more threatening wars. Friends, we've gone to a great extent to attain change, but we just can't get it because we've never conquered our own battles within. Over the years that we have nursed our discontent, we have grown oblivious of our personal responsibility to be accountable for our action. We are too cozy in our own little boxes that we do not anymore take the challenge of facing any reality that threatens to break our known paradigm. Why? Because we fear that when we get out, we find we're nothing. Change is so elusive because our egos are larger than life. Now we understand why we can never easily agree with things. We need to settle first what dominates deep within our minds and hearts. We can only dream for a better nation if we settle within each of us that equality is a matter of listening to others with an open mind, without judgment and without fear that our egos might be hurt. That's where the ripples of change begin. Change is not something that comes with habitual rebellion or sorry words that are not meant. It is an action that requires us to wisely choose, but we cannot find it unless we understand who we are, what we are, and how we have become. The ego that unsettles the self is what clouds us from starting the change, because it hides our true being. There is no war that needs to be waged if we are settled, because we begin to understand why we can choose to make amends. Forgive, sacrifice, and love without judgment. Let me get back to the young man who wanted to change the world. You see, he was not wrong in wishing to change the world. He only needed to start settling his own self. Deep within each of us is an amazing capacity to start the change. We can actually choose to create our own miracles. We only need to open our eyes and settle our minds to change our hearts. We only need to evolve or we die being caught up in the same old story. Now I understand why change has to begin with me. That's my real battle. I now challenge you to choose with conviction. Evolve or die. Today, I choose to begin with me.
Thank you, contestant number 11. You can now go back to your seat.